Hello everyone and welcome to a little bit amputated, I would say, Nintendo Switch lineup of 2020, because we finally got a Nintendo Direct. It was just that it was a mini Direct. And it came with absolutely no first-party reveals whatsoever.
And no warnings, bro. Like, what was up with that? I needed a little bit of a heads up. I was so shocked when I woke up that morning and people were talking about an ARMS character in Smash Brothers. I thought I was losing my mind.
As you probably already have guessed, I'm joined once again by Rogersbase.
What's going on?
Pleasure to have you on.
Always a pleasure to be here, Conrad.
If we're gonna get a Direct, it's gonna be, well, the soonest it can happen is in April, because Trials of Mana, they already talked about it in this mini Direct.
Yep.
We know that Minecraft Dungeons is also coming out in April. They talked about Ninjala, which is coming out on May 27th. Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, which is coming out May 29th.
I can't wait.
And we see that the marketing team of Nintendo is already pushing Shulk really hard on their website for upcoming games and so on and so on. Up to this point it was Animal Crossing, now it's Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. In other words, we're not getting any sort of Nintendo first-party games before May 29th.
Yeah, and that makes sense to me. I think give Animal Crossing a little room to breathe, right? It's Animal Crossing doesn't really need the extra room to breathe, right? It's the thing that everyone's still talking about a week later. It's still the number one trend on Twitter. Everybody's playing Animal Crossing. I think also this Animal Crossing game is the fastest selling game in Switch history, which is pretty amazing that this has beaten Smash Brothers. But everybody is talking about it. And so I feel like it's kind of smart for them to not put anything big in April. And May, Xenoblade is still a niche franchise at the end of the day. I like it and you like it, but they're still, it's not the same type of mainstream game as like a Mario, a Splatoon, a Zelda, an Animal Crossing,
Yeah, and we also have games like Ninjala coming out on May 27th, which looks very promising based on the gameplay.
I played it at Anime Expo actually 2 years ago, back when it still had the same name, but it was like a different demo area that I got to play in, and it was a ton of fun, and I was really surprised that it was in this Direct. I sort of forgot about the game for a long time. The game got announced, we didn't hear anything about it last year and got delayed in the previous year and still heard nothing. So I wasn't expecting a lot of that game. But it looks really good. It looks really promising. We have a solid release date finally, and I think it's probably going to hit home for that same Splatoon demographic that's maybe looking for another fun, family-friendly, multiplayer type game.
Exactly, since it might be a little while until we get to Splatoon. We're going to get into speculation or direct predictions or whatever you want to call it soon. But I felt like this Direct was all about talking about the expansions that are coming, or Smash Bros. Reveals, or at least the first character, since that will be around June. The next one is probably gonna then be by Christmas time, since they're spreading it out way more than they did with Fighter Pass 1. Then we have the Pokemon Sword and Shield expansion, Isle of Armor, which is coming out by the end of June. There wasn't really much more information except a few moves and the Gigantamax form of the starters.
Which we'd actually seen already, too.
Exactly, it felt like a rehash, but they added a little bit of in additional information just to make it more clear than they did in the initial reveal in the Pokemon Direct in January. And then there's plenty of third-party games.
Oh man.
We have the 2K collection, which is coming out the same day as Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. We have Catherine Full Body coming out on July 7th. Bravely Default 2, which I guess it's going to be a July game, much like Octopath Traveler was 2 years ago.
Yeah, most likely. There's a big port that was in there that I was shocked to see announced for the Switch, just because the company that makes this game has been very against putting games on the Switch, and that is Burnout Paradise Remastered was announced to be coming to Switch. I am a huge Burnout Paradise fan. I know I'm not really someone who would come off as it, but I loved that game on PS3. And I'm not really a big fan of other EA games, but for whatever reason, I've always liked the Burnout franchise. So to see that coming to Switch, I was really happy about that. And, overall, I still think the most exciting thing is BioShock Collection. I am a massive fan of those games. I cannot wait to replay them again. I'm certainly not going to be replaying them in May, though, because Xenoblade's coming out. But, I cannot wait to replay BioShock 1 and BioShock 2, actually, and BioShock Infinite, of course. Everybody loves Infinite. So, yeah, I'm thrilled to see that franchise on the Switch. And XCOM, bro. XCOM Collection, too. That's wild.
The general feeling I got out of this Nintendo Direct Mini was that they're focusing on games up to summer, So end of July, pretty much, when it comes to all of these games.
And that makes sense considering like June is probably going to be when the next like big like E3 type direct is going to happen.
And that's why I'm skeptical when it comes to the April direct rumors. But there's a situation going around the world that impacts also,
of course,
set release dates and presentations, and maybe even this direct not being a direct but becoming a direct mini.
Yeah.
So I think that Nintendo is more careful, and that's why I don't think right now that a direct in April makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and to me, I feel like they called it a mini just to set expectations. I think it was incredibly smart of them to say that an ARMS character is going to be the first character and that they're going to announce it at a later date, like exactly who it is, because I love ARMS, and most people who are familiar with my content know I'm a huge fan of that franchise, and the game sold relatively well, but it's still not the kind of thing that I think if people were waiting for like the next Smash character, they were probably expecting something really big to kick it off, someone like Geno or, a character of that level.
And it is the fact that we're getting more information about this ARMS character in June, plus that all of these games just focus up to June and July, that makes me believe that, okay, the next Nintendo Direct is going to be as if E3 took place.
Yeah.
It's going to be in June.
Totally.
And it's going to focus on the games that they didn't talk about. So the likes of No More Heroes 3, which we know is confirmed for 2020, and the likes of games they have not talked about for quite a while, like Bayonetta 3,
right,
which I think we're getting close to. Hopefully, though, of course, we have Wonderful 101 port, which is also eventually coming to.
Doesn't that come out in like 2
Nintendo
weeks?
Switch.
It comes out really soon.
It's right around the corner, and that's why I feel that Bayonetta 3 could still happen this fall.
Oh, yeah.
But that is the thing. We need to make a distinction here between the summer games up to July and July and after. And that is why I think that having a direct in April makes no sense whatsoever, unless Nintendo decides to do a different strategy regarding E3, say that they have a direct in, say, May, and then they just have a Smash Bros. Presentation in June when E3 would be.
Oh, I could actually see them doing that too, to sort of avoid, because I'm sure Sony and Microsoft will still do something during that week in June where everybody was all excited for new announcements.
And they're definitely talking next gen. That's a given.
For sure. And I think they might not want to be overshadowed by that. So I actually think that would be really smart of them to do like a big April or May direct with all their big holiday reveals, sort of like to take the time up just for themselves. And then obviously Smash is so huge that like them just dropping a Smash presentation during E3 week, that's the main thing people are hyped about during E3 week anyways. Who's the next Smash character going to be? So I could see them actually doing that. Yeah, maybe a presentation where they reveal the character, they shadow drop the character, and then, by the way, here's the announcement for the next character who's going to come out later in the year. I could totally see them doing that.
And then there's the big question, and now we're beginning to go into more speculative territory, and that is the sequel to Breath of the Wild. Is it happening this year or not? Because Arlo just uploaded a video talking about that
I literally just watched it too. I was editing my Animal Crossing video for the day. He thinks it's going to be holiday. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't agree. I think it's still going to be March of next year. I feel very strongly it's going to be March next year, launching alongside a new model of the Switch. That's what I think.
2020 has changed dramatically,
right,
because of the situation we have around the world. The cancellation of E3, it just changes completely the marketing approach that Nintendo had, and we see this already. There's not been a single first-party reveal up to this point this year. Right.
And well, that's not true. I mean, Clubhouse Games was still a first-party reveal. They still, you gotta remember Clubhouse Games. We haven't talked about it, but
that's true. But I need to talk about if we're talking about the big games, like the holiday seller, the big holiday game, and like Arlo says, it's gonna be Breath of the Wild 2. I disagree. I don't think we're getting that massive game this year. No, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't think so either. And I also don't think though that means that we're not getting a game this holiday, like a big first-party game this holiday. We obviously will. I really strongly think it's going to be a Mario game. I really feel like, I know a lot of people are saying, well, they did Mario and Zelda and Xenoblade all in 1 year before, and I get that, but I mean, we already have Animal Crossing, and we are getting Xenoblade. I just feel like the big holiday game is going to be a Mario. I think they've been working on a Mario game for a long time, whether it's a new Mario Kart or like a Mario Odyssey or something. I really strongly think that's going to be the case. And I think they're going to make the statement of like, oh, 4 years from today, we had the original Breath of the Wild, and now we have Breath of the Wild 2 in 2021 in March. It just, it seems to make sense. And again, like you said, maybe it was originally planned for the holiday. Maybe they were originally going to do, a big Mario and a big Zelda, but I don't think it's going to happen this year anymore, especially like you said, because of what's going on around the world. And I think that impacts everything, right? I mean, that's impacted film. You look at the movies that are getting delayed that are already pretty much done, but they're still getting delayed because they want people to see them. Games that have already been announced, yeah, totally, that have already been delayed, that were delayed even before this, that I think are going to be delayed even further. And so it really does change the landscape.
Just a quick update before we go into the possible Mario lineup for 2020, the 35th anniversary of Super Mario. According to multiple sources which Video Game Chronicle VGC has been in contact with, it appears that Nintendo is planning a big celebration for Mario on his 35th anniversary. Apparently, this one is supposed to take place next time Nintendo reveals new details regarding Super Nintendo World and the progress on the Super Mario animated movie after recently announcing their partnership with LEGO. But most of all, this event will reveal a number of all the new Mario games hitting the Nintendo Switch, and this reveal was supposed to take place in a special E3 event. But with E3 cancelled, it looks like a special event on a different date will have the honor of revealing a massive remaster collection, much like Rare Replay a few years ago, of all the most important Mario games over the last 35 years. And it is supposed to include the following 3 Mario titles: Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy, none of which have been close to being released on Nintendo Switch before. In addition, Wii U's Super Mario 3D World is apparently getting the deluxe treatment with new content. And most importantly, we are very likely to get a brand new Paper Mario title this year. Now back to my Mario 2020 lineup discussion with Roger.
At the end of the day, the one big thing is still going to be a Mario game. Nintendo always has a Mario game each year. They always do. They had it with Super Mario Odyssey, with Mario Party, with Mario Maker, and it's going to be something this year, and we don't know what it is. And but I think it's going to be a kart. I think it's going to be Mario Kart or like Odyssey 2.
Paper Mario is also an option, obviously.
That's true. But Paper Mario, to me, would not be like the big holiday game. Paper Mario is still a niche franchise, and I wouldn't consider that like a mainline Mario entry. You know what I mean? Like, I think Mario Kart still falls in line with that. But I don't really feel like Paper Mario does. As much as I'd be happy to see like a reboot of Paper Mario or a remake of the first game or a full-fledged sequel that, brings it back to its roots. I don't know. I don't think that's like the big heavy hitter that they think they need. I mean, I guess they don't really need any big heavy hitter, right? I mean, the Switch is doing really well. They got the expansion pass for Pokemon. They could do bundles for that. Animal Crossing is obviously incredibly successful. It's a huge game. Almost similar in scope to Breath of the Wild, to be completely honest with you. In terms of the amount of time that people are going to be playing it, yeah, totally. So they could easily sort of stretch that out over the holiday season. And maybe you're right. Maybe it will just be a Paper Mario and sort of like a bundle with Animal Crossing or something, and then another push for Sword and Shield and another push for Smash as well if we're getting new characters.
And maybe finally Pikmin 4, who knows?
Pikmin 4, of course. Yeah, that big question mark, Pikmin 4. On the topic of Mario Kart, though, because I don't want to move too far away from it, I have a very specific idea for what I think the Mario Kart game will be this year if we get one. Because I've been on these discussions with you before. We've talked ad nauseum about, will there be a Mario Kart 9? Will it be a Mario Kart Adventure? What are they going to do? Are they going to use the branding? I think it's going to be Double Dash 2. I've been thinking about it a lot, and here's why I think it's going to be Double Dash 2. One, they've been appealing to that GameCube era demographic a lot recently. That sort of like hardcore Nintendo fan. And admittedly, I mean, that was a game that a lot of people really loved during the GameCube era, was Double Dash. And if they're going to do another Mario Kart on the system, it has to be something different enough from 8 to really make it stand out. Because 8 Deluxe is still like the gold standard, right? It's still like the mainline Mario game. But if they're going to do another Mario Kart, you have the 2 Joy-Cons on the system already. I wouldn't be surprised if they really like bumped up the co-op features of a Double Dash sequel and said, no, okay, you're always 2 people racing together. You're playing online with your friends. You're racing locally. I think they could do a lot of interesting things with the Double Dash mechanic. And I think they could even like do a cute kind of bundle with the Switch for the holiday season where you have like 2 different Joy-Cons, one for player 1 and one for player 2, and you're racing using the Joy-Cons on their sides. And I think there's a lot of really cool characters, too, that have been introduced in the Mario lore over the course of the past, 3-4 years that weren't present in Mario Kart 8 and also haven't been present in Mario Kart Tour. I think the one big thing I'm thinking of is Luigi's Mansion 3 came out last year. Huge success. Everybody likes it. And no EGAD. Nowhere to be seen in Mario Kart anywhere. Still no EGAD. I feel like that's a big character they can push. Pauline is, obviously a huge portion of Mario Kart, not Mario Kart, what I'm saying, Super Mario Odyssey, and Pauline was in Mario Kart Tour, but was not in a mainline Mario Kart game on a home console. So I think they could throw Pauline in there. Maybe do interesting things with her and maybe Pauline and Donkey Kong. Maybe that's the tag team right there. Maybe they do Pauline and Donkey Kong. Maybe they do Pauline and Cappy or something. They could go all over the place with the double dash mechanics and pairing up characters again. You could have EGAD and King Boo, the possibilities are endless.
So what we can agree on is that we're gonna get a Mario game that sells.
100%. That's going to be a big holiday game, a Mario game that sells. Yeah.
Because they already have the Lego Mario thing collab that they're doing. And it's obvious that they were planning a big Mario year.
Yes.
You have Lego Mario. We have Super Nintendo World. Now, of course, Super Nintendo World will be amputated because of the world situation.
Of course.
It's a given.
Yeah, the Olympics were even delayed. I think that was the big thing they were hinting on. I think they were waiting on the Olympics, pushing a lot of people in and say, oh, well, let's go to Nintendo World while we're here. And so with those being delayed too, I don't know, have they publicly announced that they're delaying the opening of Nintendo World? I would imagine it's a given at this point, right?
They haven't, but if if they were already ready to open it up in 2 or 3 months, I think they will still go ahead with it.
Really?
Yeah, because they will be losing money if the tourist market reopens. By that time, even in a limited degree, I think.
The market reopens for sure. But if it doesn't, I could easily see them delaying the opening day.
If that's the case, then absolutely it's going to be delayed.
Yeah.
And then there's the question, obviously, could this also impact the Mario game coming this year? I don't think so. And the reason is simple. The reason we have so big focus on Mario this year is that it's the 35th anniversary of Super Mario.
Yep.
5 years ago, it was the 30th anniversary, we got Super Mario Maker. We already got Super Mario Maker 2 last year, which means that we're getting a different type of Mario game. And I like a prediction of either Odyssey 2 and Mario Kart Double Dash 2. And I feel like it's enough to give us these few months to build up hype. And the reason is, we know what Odyssey is. It's just going to be new kingdoms.
New characters to take over, new kingdoms.
New characters to capture. Exactly. One of them is definitely going to be Isle Delfino, so everyone knows that.
I hope so, man.
And then I think Mario Kart is possible, but then again, if we're getting ARMS, isn't that the same team that develops Mario Kart?
Yeah, that's true. But maybe we won't get ARMS 2 then. Maybe that is going to be... Maybe the ARMS team has moved on to Mario Kart for this year, and that the next thing after that is ARMS 2. Right, because to me, the ARMS 2 thing, I was happy that it was trending, and I'm glad people are talking about a potential sequel, and I think it could do well. There's a lot of neat mechanics in ARMS that I think they could build upon in a sequel, but to me, the only way I really see ARMS 2 is if they announce ARMS 2 in summer, and that the Smash character that's coming to Smash or the ARMS character coming to Smash, is like the headliner for the next ARMS game. And that's why they showed it's going to be an ARMS character, and they show the whole roster. And then I could see them maybe jumping back to it like a Direct in June, like a Smash presentation, and showing the same thing they showed on screen during this Nintendo Direct Mini, where they had all the characters there. And then, boop, screen slides, and actually it's a totally new character who's the headliner of the next game. I could see them doing that too. And that would be another reason as to why they might not want to announce that character now, because maybe the ARMS 2 announcement wasn't ready. Maybe it was supposed to be ready, and then they just... had to hold back, and so they said, okay, well, it's going to be a character from this franchise.
But when we are on the topic of Paper Mario, I still think Paper Mario could come along one of those two games, because we got Super Mario Maker 2 last year, and we also got Luigi's Mansion 3. And I feel like I think it can happen that we get both Paper Mario and one of those two games.
Oh, I definitely think so too.
It's the 35th anniversary of Mario, and it just fits.
Yeah. Again, Paper Mario is a niche portion of the Mario franchise, right? It's not like a mainline Mario game. So totally, they could release Paper Mario and an Odyssey 2 or Paper Mario and Double Dash 2 or something. Totally.
Exactly, and that's what I also feel. It's just going to be Paper Mario and...
Yes, totally.
The big one. Obviously, Mario is going to be big. 35th anniversary. Anniversaries are big for Mario. For the 25th anniversary, we got Super Mario Galaxy 2. So they care about anniversaries, and they do care about anniversaries when it comes to Super Mario. But I still think we're going to get a Zelda game, but it's not going to be a Breath of the Wild 2, and the reason is very simple. The story of Breath of the Wild is heavily connected to Skyward Sword. And that's why I think we need to get Skyward Sword before Breath of the Wild 2. So that Breath of the Wild 2 will then come out for the 35th anniversary of The Legend of Zelda. And Skyward Sword HD would then come out this year and be maybe also supplemented by Wind Waker HD and TP HD, because they are simple Wii U ports that they can add on top of it, and chitching.
So I'm glad you said that, but I am going to be severely disappointed if, and I feel like this would be the case because they've been doing this with all the other Wii U games, if the Zelda Skyward Sword HD remake was not paired with Wind Waker and Twilight Princess. Because I feel like now that BioShock is coming to the Switch, and we have all these, Borderlands collection, XCOM collection, BioShock collection. Dude, a Zelda collection with Twilight Princess, Wind Waker, and Skyward Sword would be phenomenal. Phenomenal. But I think they're going to want to sell that game separately. And part of me feels like they might just release all three. Like you said, they're relatively simple ports, I'm imagining, for Wind Waker and Twilight Princess. But releasing all three maybe around the holiday season, but selling them separately. I would personally like it as a collection.
Triforce
more than anything else, but I don't think we'd get that. Yeah, the Triforce collection, bro. Oh my god, that'd be incredible. That would probably sell really well too.
It's a story that ties well. Like, you have the beginning, you have the two timeline split games, and all of them are important to Breath of the Wild and Breath of the Wild 2, which seems to tie everything together. And I just feel like Skyward Sword, with its tie to pretty much everything, because spoilers,
yeah, right.
It's going to be crucial to Breath of the Wild 2, and that's why I think that's the number one reason why Breath of the Wild 2 is not coming out this holiday season, and maybe not even in spring. And and I will explain that by very simple terms. Number one is that we know that there are not coming any new Switch models this year, but if they are indeed working on a Nintendo Switch Pro, then the development and especially production of that thing has probably also been impacted by the situation.
100%, yeah.
So that is my prediction when it comes to Breath of the Wild 2. Skyward Sword HD is going to happen this year, hopefully as a Triforce collection, and then Breath of the Wild 2, it's probably going to be... I would love it to have it in spring, but I'm starting to be afraid that we might have to wait until the holiday 2021.
I mean, to be honest, though, I'd be fine with that, right? If you look at what could potentially come in holiday 2021 and all the things that are, in development for the Switch already, I mean, that could be an amazing year. I mean, 2020 to me has already been a really good year for the Switch. But yeah, man, I mean, a Breath of the Wild 2 as their holiday game next year, I know a lot of people would be upset by that big push, but I mean, realistically, we've had those massive pushes for Zelda games before. It's not like the Zelda fan base isn't used to this. I still remember E3, it was 2005, right? Where they had the Twilight Princess, they had the little DS cartridges with the trailer, and they're like, oh, it's going to be this year. And then, look, it got pushed completely to 2006 with the launch of the Wii, and that was the next holiday. So we could see a similar situation. Now,
that is something I wanted also to bring up, because Zelda is so closely tied to Nintendo hardware.
Totally.
Like we saw with the Switch launching with Breath of the Wild. Link's Awakening remake launching the same day as Switch Lite.
Yep.
And then I think Switch Pro is just going to be with Breath of the Wild 2.
Completely agree.
That's the number. Like, there's no other reason. Like,
no, and they realized it works. I mean, it didn't always used to be like that. They didn't always used to launch systems with Zelda. But I think they've realized since the Wii, oh no, this works. Like, this is a good hardcore experience that really gets a lot of new people into it, while at the same time, really shows off what the new hardware is able to do. So I completely agree with you.
Exactly, and that is why this fall it's going to be exciting. Like, we're going to start probably with No More Heroes 3, followed by Bayonetta 3. Then we're going to probably see a Paper Mario or another smaller game, like, I don't know, Pikmin 4. And then you will have the big holiday system seller Mario.
Right.
With Skyward Sword HD somewhere in there, probably the October space.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a fitting space for a Zelda collection that is not unfortunately not Breath of the Wild 2, but there are so many reasons for Breath of the Wild 2 to not come out this year.
Real quick, by the way, too, one big thing that we kind of skipped over is the epilogue that's going to be included in Xenoblade from the start.
Then you have a lot of indie games like Axiom Verge 2, Hollow Knight Silksong, which is going to come out probably sometime in the second half of the year. Bayonetta 3, maybe a September game. Anyways, it was a great pleasure to have you here once again.
Always fun.
Be sure to leave a like on this video, subscribe to both of our channels. Of course, check out Rogersbase channel, where you can also check out his reaction to the Direct Mini. And a bunch of other stuff too. So other than that, I hope you enjoyed this video, and also make sure to check out one of these two awesome videos. Woo. We'll see you in the next one.
Bye-bye, everyone.